We'd like to officially welcome you to another Science of Life webinar presentation. I am your host, Danielle Caldwell, tonight, and we will be discussing a very important subject, decoding the root cause of anger. So I'm glad that you was able to make time out of your schedule to be here, and we look forward to giving you some very empowering information over this next hour. Of course, tonight's event is hosted by Quantum Upgrade, Radiant Energy Healing, which is designed to upgrade your experience. And for more information about the work that we do, you can visit us online at quantumupgrade.com. Tonight's rules of engagement are as follows. This live webcast is strictly for informational purposes only, so if we do any type of demonstrations of healing or things of this nature, this does not constitute an actual healing session. You would actually have to book an official healing session for that. We also advise that you turn off all electronic devices to avoid any distractions during this presentation. Feel free to drink some water to keep your mind focused and alert. You can use your chat box on your screen to make a comment or ask a question, and we will save all responses to those things for the end of the presentation. Also, there's no recording, transmission, or duplication of this webinar allowed without written permission from Quantum Upgrade. And please feel free to spread the word to others if you enjoy this presentation. And you can follow us on social media. You can find us at all the usual places: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. So I've already introduced myself. My name is Danielle, and I was the person that you saw on the opening video clip. My wife is my business partner as well as life partner. And our company, Quantum Upgrade LLC, is located in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we also have an extension of it in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. Some of the work that we do right now is as follows. Khayah Reiki, I'm sure many of you have heard of Reiki, and we have decided to take the Reiki that we learned and kind of make some tweaks and modifications to it, and we came up with what is referred to as Khayah Reiki. Very powerful and very healing, works on you on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level, and is designed to help with stress reduction, as well as clear away all energetic imbalances inside of your body. We also do emotion code therapy, which we're going to talk a lot about tonight. And at the end of tonight's presentation, we're going to, extend an offer for you to come and try it for yourself. Motion code basically is designed to help work on what is referred to as trapped emotions. And the point of it is to be able to identify trapped emotions that we have inside of us from things that have happened in our past, especially our early childhood, and to ultimately release those things in a safe manner so that they do not have a damaging effect on our life, our relationships, and our health. But more about that as we go further in the presentation. We also do Meridian Tapping, which focuses specifically on what is known as the meridian system in our body. And we tap on what is called pressure points at different parts of the body, especially the face and the chest and arms and hands. And when you do this, you can actually not only clear the channels and your meridians, but you can also work on a subconscious level to clear any kind of negative programming and core beliefs in your mind. And last but certainly not least, biomagnetic therapy, which is one of my personal favorites. Magnets are very powerful, and they can do many things to help one's health, especially when it comes to any type of serious diseases and diagnoses. And we have seen exceptional levels of success with clients that we have worked with using biomagnetic therapy. And basically, the premise of it is to help correct the pH balance in our body, which is very crucial to maintaining a proper environment needed to not allow any type of disease to form within you. Also, we have some online programs. We actually have one that's live right now, which is the Quantum Detox program. But coming in January, just right around the corner in 2019, right at the start of the year, we're going to be launching the Khayah Reiki Academy. And you'll have an opportunity to learn how to actually do some of the work that we do, which we think is very important, especially at this time, because obviously we can see throughout the world there's a dire need for alternative forms of healthcare. And we're going to be launching the Science of Life University, which is going to be aimed at teaching people our Science of Life model, which deals with the 4 elements of the body and the 4 elements of nature. So we're real excited about these endeavors, and we look forward to sharing more information with you about them very soon. So let's go ahead and dive right into this presentation. We're going to get a lot in a short amount of time. And then at the end, if you have some things you want to ask, you can feel free to do so. And of course, we're going to share with you how you can actually begin this healing process for yourself. So first, we want to get into what are trapped emotions. So the best way to begin this subject is to simply ask you a question. Have you experienced strong emotions which caused you to feel some pain and discomfort? And you can respond with a why in the chat box if you have. Have you experienced strong emotions which caused you to feel some type of pain or discomfort at any time in your life? And I'm pretty sure all of us have. You know, we're emotional people, we feel emotions, and I'm sure we've all gone through things that have definitely made us feel, you know, some pain and some discomfort at some stage in our life, possibly many, many times. Well, the thing that we need to understand is that trapped emotions can and do affect your health. Now, as I've already mentioned, you've probably experienced moments of anxiety, as well as grief, anger, frustration, and fear. Perhaps you've even experienced long periods of depression or hopelessness. And we all know that when we feel like this, it has a very detrimental effect on our life, on our relationships, and our personal well-being. But what you may not have realized is how these trapped emotions are slowly but surely causing damage inside of your body. Because not too many people are aware of the connection between our emotional state and our physical health. And so we're going to take time, but not too much time, to help broaden your perspective on this subject so that you can have a very clear understanding of what this is really about and things that we would recommend that you do in order to help yourself. So let's figure out what are trapped emotions. Scientific studies have confirmed that much of your pain and suffering is due to negative emotional energies which are literally trapped within you. Now, you may be thinking, how are my emotions trapped within me? One of the things we got to understand right from the very beginning is that when we're talking about emotions, we're talking about energy inside of your body. An emotion is energy. And that energy contains information concerning a memory, that you have experienced at some point in your life. And the thing is, when we experience certain things that have a very painful and very traumatic effect upon us, it doesn't just go away, like a scar or, a cut or a wound. It doesn't just go away. A lot of times we think, well, that was in the past and I've moved on from it. But the reality is that a lot of these things are still inside of us. And one way we can confirm it for sure is that when somebody speaks to you or even mentions whatever that traumatic thing that happened to you, the whole emotion of it that you felt when it happened, no matter how long ago, you automatically feel the same way in that moment. Why do you feel that way? Because it's still there. And that's the thing that we have to understand. The reason why it's still there is because it's literally trapped inside of you. So here's some examples of some trapped emotions, and possibly you have experienced some of these, if not all of them, at some point in your life. Anger, fear, worry, sadness, guilt, shame, and pride. Now, if you're feeling, courageous and up to it, I would like for you to look at this list and pick one of these trapped emotions that you feel resonates very strongly with your emotional state at this current time in your life. And you can type that into the chat. Anger, fear, worry, sadness, guilt, shame, and pride. Because in tonight's webinar, we want to help you to kind of see yourself in the thing that we're discussing. It's very important that you see yourself in this, and I'm sure that that's what drew you to come to this webinar tonight. And we're going to be able to help you to not only see yourself in this, but we're also going to give you a way to see yourself out of this situation and transformed into a different experience. So out of all of those trapped emotions, we want to focus tonight on anger specifically. We want to get down to the root cause of anger because in my experience, being a quote unquote African-American Black person, I've experienced a lot of anger in my life, and a lot of people that I know in my family and relatives and friends and associates and coworkers, I see a lot of angry people. Some people, obviously suppress it. Other people just let it come flying out and it gets out of control. And, either way, anger is something that can be very, very toxic and very poisonous. And it's very important that we understand how to be able to remove it from within us before it completely overwhelms us. So the first thing we need to understand about anger is that anger can be expressed as a fit of rage or verbal outbursts. But here's the catch. It is usually a form of denial about being hurt or upset. So being hurt and being upset is what's underneath a lot of the anger that people express. And because they don't understand how to resolve the hurt and the pain that they're feeling, then it usually gets outwardly expressed in the form of anger. Now, here's the thing. Just like you can become addicted to drugs or alcohol, the same is true of negative trapped emotions. It is referred to as an emotional addiction. So when people tend to latch on to anger, they're not just angry once or twice, they're usually angry all the time. And it becomes something that they actually become addicted to. And it becomes like a form of drama where every single day they're going to find themselves in an argument or some other type of verbal outburst. And they become literally engaged with that feeling of anger on a daily basis. It's almost like they can't even go a day without it. And as harmful and as destructive as it is, once you become addicted to it, you end up finding ways in order to feel that anger inside of you. Because when you experience negative events on a regular basis, as many of us have and do, you begin to interpret them in a way that begins to shape your perception. The first way it shapes your perception is it makes you feel a certain way about yourself. Then you may start to look and have a certain point of view towards your spouse or your loved ones or your children or your relatives or your parents or even the creator, even God. You know, there are people who are angry at God, right? Believe it or not. And so this anger thing can really begin to change your perception of so many things. And when this happens, it forms an addiction to one of the three main negative emotions: anger, fear, or sadness. And really, when you think about these three negative emotions, they all have a connection to each other. And so once that anger, once that trapped emotion begins to shape your perception, the end result is that you now see the world through the lens of these trapped emotions. You start to see life through anger, fear, and sadness. And we all know that that is not a healthy and productive way to view one's life or one's purpose here in this world. It's very detrimental, very painful, and creates an immense amount of personal suffering. And so we figured that it was important that we let you know something. So here's a little secret. And if you have a pen or paper, you may want to jot this down, because not too many people are actually aware of what I'm getting ready to tell you. Emotion is a frequency and can alter your DNA. Let me say it again. Emotion is a frequency and can alter your DNA. Now strap on your seatbelts, because we're about to turn up on this presentation in this section. And it's important that you grasp what I just told you. Emotion is a frequency and can alter your DNA. So let's take a look at what that means. Now, here is the root cause of anger and pretty much any trapped emotion. Here it is. Once you begin to resonate with the emotion of anger, this causes you to become an energetic match to that frequency, and you begin to manifest more of it in your life. Remember, I said emotion is a frequency. So when we're talking about anger, anger is a frequency. It's a frequency. A frequency is like a vibration, it's like a sound, it's like energy. Okay, that's what a frequency is. And when we feel anger on a regular basis, that frequency begins to match our reality. And once a match is made, we end up manifesting more and more of those experiences in our life because now we resonate with it. We don't want to resonate with it, but since it's a frequency, we have to resonate with it. If that's what we're experiencing, that's the only way we could experience it, is that we actually resonate with that particular frequency. So let me show you how this works. This is a chart here called the map of consciousness. And there was a scientist by the name of David Hawkins who wrote a book called Power versus Force. And he kind of did some studies and mapped out different emotional states, their vibrations, and the type of experiences and perceptions that they can form. So I want you to take a quick look at this chart, and I want you to identify exactly where anger is on this chart. Based on where it is on this chart, is the energy level that it produces weak or strong? And you can type your response in the chat box. Based on the frequency of anger, does it produce weak energy or strong energy? Does it weaken your energy or does it strengthen your energy? And if you're not sure how to figure that out, just cast your eyes to the right side of the chart and you'll see what I mean. So if we look on the right side of the chart, we can see that there are emotional levels that produce strong energy, and there are emotional levels that produce weak energy. And if we take a look at anger, we see that it produces other types of emotions that are associated with it, such as hate and aggression. Antagonistic. You become an antagonistic person, right? You have a negative outlook on everything and everybody. You can become vengeful. You can become spiteful. See, that's all part of the frequency of anger. Once we're on that frequency, we're going to manifest experiences in our life that's going to continue to play out these different emotions and these different energetic resonances in our daily life. And the more and more it happens, the weaker and weaker it makes our body in terms of the energy that it requires to live. And so you can see other emotions underneath anger, such as fear, such as grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Anger is like the thing that kind of anchors all of those weak emotions, right? That's kind of where it starts. It starts with anger and then it just goes further down from there. And so that's not really what we want to be experiencing on a daily basis, especially for 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That is definitely not something that we want to be experiencing. And if we have been experiencing it, it is absolutely imperative that you listen closely to what needs to be done to transform that in your life right now. So scientific studies have now confirmed, as we showed you on the chart, that emotions do have an effect on the body. Now, I want you to take a good look at this chart, and I want you to look at the different emotional states because special equipment was used in order to take a snapshot of the thermal energy of the body when people were deeply into certain emotional states. And you can see, just as we talked about, how certain emotions have a detrimental effect on the overall energy level of the body. So we see here that anger and fear will drain energy from the body. And just take a look at anger, take a look at fear. And then if you take a look at love and happiness, you will see that those emotional states boost the energy levels in your body. And happiness is actually a more powerful emotional state than love. Happiness is the ultimate emotional state. When we are happy, our body is strong and full of energy, as you can see here on this chart. So how many of you would like to go from anger and fear to love and happiness? Type a Y in the chat box for me. If you would like to undergo that transformation from anger and fear to love and happiness, type a Y in the chat box. And why is it important that we make this transformation? Remember, emotion is frequency. And so when we're talking about the frequency of trapped emotions, obviously we're talking about a very low frequency. The lower the frequency, the weaker it makes you. And when we're experiencing trapped emotions like anger or fear, our energy reserves, because our body is like a battery and it runs on energy the same way a computer runs on energy, the same way your cell phone runs on energy, the same way your internet or your appliances run on energy. The body also runs on energy. And when we're experiencing trapped emotions on a consistent and continuous basis, the energy reserves in our body are diverted away from the task of regenerating and repairing our body. And that's why a lot of people are getting sick. And they're not able to stop the sickness from getting worse, because the energy that it requires to heal your body from the sickness, to repair and regenerate your body, all of that energy is being burnt up with trapped emotions like anger and fear. So this is very, very detrimental. And it's exceedingly important that we understand the need to make an emotional transformation in our lives right now. And the good news is you can counteract this damaging effect by releasing those trapped emotions and beginning the process of learning how to cultivate emotional states of love and happiness. And we've already showed you what that looks like in terms of the energy level in your body, love and happiness. And when we do this, this will enhance our entire energy system, because the body is not just simply a biological system. The body is actually an energy system with biological programs to run it. And being able to move from fear and anger to love and happiness will not only enhance our energy system, but it will even penetrate all the way to the level of our DNA. And we'll have future webinars where we'll go into more detail about the role of DNA and all of these other wonderful technologies that are inside of our body. But right now, we want to share with you how we can make that transformation from fear and anger to love and happiness. And so we want to introduce and bring to your attention what we talked about earlier, emotion code therapy, and share with you the very powerful benefits. Because emotion code therapy is the simplest and fastest way to identify and clear all the negative trapped emotions from your past. Now, it's a process. You're not going to be able to clear every single trapped emotion in 1 or 2 sessions. This is something that you're going to have to put some time and some energy into. But I promise you, it's worth it. Because if we don't make this transformation, we're going to burn up all the energy inside of our body, and we're going to literally make it impossible for us to experience a high quality of life. So why is it so important for us to be about releasing these trapped emotions right now? Trapped emotions can cause depression, anxiety, anger, fear, and make people feel disconnected. They start to feel disconnected from their family, their friends, their coworkers. They start to feel disconnected from the world. They start to feel disconnected from life. And on a much, much deeper level, spiritual level, they even start to feel disconnected from the Creator. And so when this takes place, it's imperative that we go in and start to work on it on an emotional level. Because the thing that many of us don't understand, and here's secret number 2, that your body is not just simply physical. Your body is actually physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And we have other webinars that will go into detail about these things, but I just wanted to drop that in there so that you would understand that achieving good health requires more than just addressing the issues on a physical level only. This presentation is about how we need to address them on an emotional level, which we're now beginning to see is playing a major role in what we are experiencing in our life. Because releasing trapped emotions is the number 1 key to successfully dealing with anger management. And I think we all know, whether it's ourselves or whether it's other people that we know in our families, we know anger management is something we could all use some assistance with. An emotion code will provide us with the key to do just that. So how does emotion code work? Well, we do this very interesting but very cool thing called muscle testing. Because your body is like a detector, almost like a lie detector, right? You can hook a body up to a lie detector, and depending on the way people respond, it will either move up and down real fast or it will remain nice and steady. Well, you can also achieve the same results with muscle testing for strong and weak responses. All of this is courtesy to being able to access your subconscious mind. Once we go in and we access, then we're able to muscle test to locate trapped emotions which need to be released from your body in that particular session. Doing this allows us to obtain specific information about what you're really feeling at a deeper level within you, because if we were to just ask you what you're feeling, you might not even really know what the real emotion that you're really feeling, because it's almost like an onion and there's so many different layers, so many different experiences that you need a different kind of tool to be able to weave through all of these different experiences and get right to the root cause of what's going on. And this is what emotion code does with muscle testing. We can find out what you're really feeling at a much deeper level so that we can go about the process of releasing that trapped emotional energy. And once we identify any trapped emotions within you, then we use a biomagnetic rod and we swipe it. Remember, we talked about the meridian system before. Well, there is a very powerful meridian in your body called the governing meridian, which is basically right down the center of your body. And we can take that magnetic rod and swipe it right down the center of your body. and swiftly release any negative trapped emotional energies right out of your body. Isn't that cool? Once we're done, then we test you again to confirm that the trapped emotion is no longer present. Now, considering how powerful and how useful that is, what if you could experience emotion code sessions to release any trapped emotions from out of your body, from the comfort of your own home or workplace? Is that something that you think you could benefit from at this time? Type a Y in the chat box for me. And I'm well aware that there are some of you here that are currently benefiting from it. But those of you who are new to this, considering what you have heard so far, do you think that you could benefit from having an experience like this from your own home or workplace? Because see, you don't have to come to where we are in order to do emotion code sessions. We have it set up where you can purchase emotion code sessions, and we can use technology in the form of video conferencing to connect with you anywhere you are in the world, and we can release trapped emotions right through the video conference. And so what are the healing benefits of these emotion code sessions? Well, we've already talked about so many of them, but just as a review, number one, and of utmost importance, is that it clears trapped emotions. And we've already talked tonight about what trapped emotions are, what type of effect they have on the body, the frequency that they contain, and how that frequency can even alter your DNA. Now, if it can alter your DNA, just imagine what else it's altering. Isn't it worth clearing away that negative energy out of your body? I think it is. Number two is that it reduces stress, which is silently one of the top killers in the United States right now, and depression. Depression is one of those things that a lot of people are suffering from, but don't talk about it, but are quietly depressed. And it's a very, very, very unhealthy way to be experiencing one's life. It also allows you to enhance your energy levels. We showed you the charts and how anger and fear drain energy from your body, energy that your body needs to repair and regenerate you. And we showed how love and happiness can bring that energy back into your body, the energy that you need in order to be healthy and have a good quality of life. It also transforms any negative karma. Karma is just simply actions that we have done, because a lot of times we don't seem to realize that it was the actions that we did that actually produced the anger that we're experiencing. A lot of times we think it's somebody else's actions, but if we really take a deeper look, we'll realize unknowingly that we did actions, we wasn't aware of it, but we did actions that actually formed the root causes of much of the anger that we are experiencing inside of us. And so we need to be able to transform the negative karma that it has produced so that we can have a favorable destiny for ourselves and for our children. It restores your emotional stability, which we are living in some very unprecedented times. If you're looking at the news and seeing the different reports around the world, you and I both know that something is going on. And in order for us to be able to walk through it, we need to have emotional stability. And emotion code sessions can definitely give you that boost to restore your emotional stability. And best of all, it actually produces happiness and mental clarity to allow you to be able to see through all the confusion, all the pain, all the suffering that's taking place around you, and to be able to see exactly what you need to do and give you the confidence to be able to walk boldly and move forward and do just that. So I thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here for this very important webinar presentation. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I want to now actually invite you to get your emotion code bundle today. You'll be able to get it online, and you'll be able to set it up so that you can choose a day and time that suits your schedule and begin the process of clearing away these trapped emotions from inside of you. And so you'll be able to see the offer on your window screen, and you can just simply click the Buy Now button and go ahead and set up your emotion code sessions with us. The emotion code bundle includes 3 sessions, and we have shaved off the price a little bit to give a discount. And that's our way of saying thank you for being here at this presentation tonight and sharing with us your time and your energy. So if you have any questions for me, you can feel free to put them in the chat at this time, and I will just take a moment to respond to them. And more importantly, go ahead and grab you an emotion code bundle. Do it for yourself. Do it for somebody you know, family or friends. You know, we're heading into, a time of the year where a lot of trapped emotions are formed around the holiday season, a lot of tension amongst family members and friends, and husbands and wives and children start trickling out. And so this will be an excellent gift for yourself or for anyone who really wants to get in there and clean house on an emotional level and be able to set themselves free from anger and fear and step into the experience of love and happiness.